Hey folks, my name's Laducium and welcome to Let's Take a Look at Path of Exile. So, first questions first, what is Path of Exile? It's an action RPG in the spirit of Diablo, Diablo 2, and so forth. Games like that, where basically it's a third person, kind of top-down, well not top-down I guess, sideways down, action RPG. That's the best way I have to describe it. You click on monsters, you hit them with...
It would be wrong to do that here.
You hit them with things. In my case, I have a club and a sword. And then you can cast spells, have special abilities, and so on. And I'll talk a little bit more about all the abilities and all of the aspects of the game. So, Path of Exile, it is free to play. It's on Steam, and I think you can get it on the website for the developer as well. I forget, it's Grinding Gears Development, I think, or something like that. Grinding Gear Games. I'll put the link in the description of the video for the company. But it is really, really cool. So it's free to play. They do have microtransactions where you can purchase things.
Come to hear your poem.
Yeah. But it's not play to win, or it's not pay to win. I should say it is play to win because you do want to win when you play, but it is not pay to win. So you don't have to buy things in order to actually be able to beat the game, or in order for it not to be overly frustrating. In fact, the microtransactions are mostly cosmetic, and I think it's amazing. I think this is a very good move for the developers, very nice for them to do, for the community, but also a good move financially, because I think people are more inclined to play the game and support it if it's not a pay-to-win model. I would be very interested in seeing their figures. Of course, they're probably not going to ever release them to the public, but seeing how much money they've made using this model versus the traditional pay-to-win model that a lot of free-to-play games have taken on. So that would be interesting to find out. But anyways, let's get into the gameplay a little bit, and I'll talk about the game as I play. So I've got these waypoints right now. I have two areas unlocked. I have the starting area, which I'm at level 17 right now, so I went through this Act 1, got to level 17, so I played probably for a good 4 or 5 hours so far, maybe a little less in the starting area. And now I'm also on Act 2, and there are these waypoints that let me get around. So that's this waypoint here. When I click on it, brings up the world map, and I can click on previous places I've been. The areas with waypoints have this glowing little gem or glowing area, whereas the places without waypoints are these ones here without a glowing gem in the middle. So let's go to Act 2, the southern forest, and we'll just walk around and smack some stuff, and as I do, I'll talk about the game a little bit. So, yep, walking around the forest. Visually, the game looks fantastic. I really like the environment design so far. A lot of the environments have been fairly unique. Good-looking bad guys, you know, models, textures, all pretty well designed. The game is... Ooh, what are you? Blood Chieftain. Oh, that is cool. And then all these guys came out of the trees. That is so awesome. One of the spells I have right now, one of my abilities, is this Molten Shield that explodes after I get damaged enough, and it knocks enemies back, and it also does some damage to them, which is kind of nice because as a melee character I get surrounded quite often. So these guys are dropping some items. These are common items. I'm not going to pick them up. I'm pretty much sticking to blue and gold gear. I don't know why I have this. So I have a few weapons here, and I'll talk about these as we go. So visually the game looks great. Unique environment so far. So all of the stuff on my world map here, each one of these has been fairly unique with different kind of textures, different assets, and they look great. The game sounds great, the game looks great, unique enemies. I enjoy it. I can't say that enough. So let's go exploring. Where are you guys? Oh, there's a lot of you, aren't there? Blood apes. Huh. Interesting. If true. So this is the forest. Anything? I'm just looking for chests or boulders I can push over to get some stuff. If I hit the tab key, it'll bring up the map. And it's really hard to see, actually. I wish there might be a way to make the map a little darker. But there's the map. Ooh, Blood Chieftain, there you are. Chaos Orb. Alright. What does that do? Reforges a rare item with new random properties. So, bottom left I have my life, and I also have a shield, so I have 67 for the shield and 377 for my life. And on the right hand side I have mana, which allows me to use my special abilities here. We have this open microtransactions button, so this is where I can actually do the microtransactions. So let's take a quick look at these actually while I'm here. Newly added, so what do we have? Darkness Pack contains the Ebony Scorpion pet, so just a pet. Wild Pack contains the Green Basilisk pet. So again, these are just pets. Nothing to actually influence gameplay, but they give you a cool pet that kind of tags along. Count, so upgrade to Premium Stash tab so I can get more. And then these guys come running along. I can get more inventory space, so that's really the biggest, I think, game influencing microtransaction that you have is slightly increased inventory space, which is a convenience, but not, I wouldn't call it something that really determines whether or not you can beat the game or have a good time playing. It's more of, you know, it's a nice to have. So let's get these guys dead, and I can hardly see with all this foliage, all these plants, all this fauna and flora. Alright, so let's go back to microtransactions here. So we have pets, we've got extra stash tab, premium stash tab, premium stash, so again we can increase our carrying capacity, extra character slots so I can get an extra character on my account, stash tab bundle, premium stash tab bundle. So again, convenience. They're pets, not necessary but cool to have. For example, this Weta pet. I believe this is a New Zealand based company, and Wetas are a New Zealand giant Weta pet, huh? Are a New Zealand insect, so look them up. They're kind of creepy. They grow to be pretty big in size. I think some of them can get as big as a human palm. They're, well, if you don't mind bugs, they're kind of cool. If you mind bugs, they'll probably freak the crap out of you. So, yeah, Weta, New Zealand insect. How do I know that? I don't know. Biology major here. Skin transfer, so I guess you can transfer the visual appearance of one item to another, so you can change skins. Infernal weapon effects, so weapon effects you can buy. Demon Knight horns, so you can buy headgear with horrific horns. Again, visual stuff. Crimson weapon effect. I wonder, my curiosity is if this applies to all weapons or just one weapon. That'd be interesting to know. Skill effects, so you get different effects for your skills. Different character animations you can buy. Design unique item, so $1,000, but you get to design your own item. Kind of cool if you want to really support the guys, the developers, you know, and you have the money, then I say go for it. Premium guild stash tab and so on, so you can do stuff for your guild because there are guilds. This is a multiplayer game. So again, those are all the microtransactions. Nothing that's really standing out as you got to buy this or else you won't enjoy the game. It's an amazing model. I am so happy somebody did this, and it's, you know, it took a long time for a developer to do this. And don't get me wrong, there probably might be other developers out there who have done something similar and I just don't know about it. But as far as I know, this is the first time I've seen this kind of microtransactions where they're not really impacting the game but more of a visual thing. Let me take that back, actually. I'd say Team Fortress is this way. Although it was a paid game to begin with because I bought it way back right when it came out. But eventually when it went free to play, the transactions in the game are mostly hats, costumes, you know, visual stuff. You can buy some weapons, but then those weapons are, well, you can actually forge those weapons. So everything that you can buy weapon-wise, and with the hats too, actually, if you really wanted to, you can forge. It's just going to take some gameplay to do, which is perfectly fine and reasonable to expect that if you want to save on time. sure, you can buy the weapon, but if you want to put the time into the game, then you can get it through sheer gameplay. So, let's kill some more apes. And there we go. Get these guys, get some of these guys. Come back here, you. We can pick up some of these scrolls. I am picking up the scrolls whenever I see them because they're nice. You can use the scrolls to... I think I accidentally picked up a jade hatchet. Let's throw on a shield and heal ourselves a little bit as well. So, scrolls. There doesn't seem to be gold in the game, which is kind of unusual for an action RPG or any RPG. But instead, most of the transactions in the stores are through the use of different scrolls and orbs. So I just picked up a town portal scroll, which allows me to teleport back to the town area where I can sell my gear. I'm assuming I can replenish health if I need to, although I have life regen, so I usually don't need to actually go back to town to replenish health. Let's go over here for a sec. One of my orbs leveled up, and I'll talk about those in just a second. So if we take a look, I have portal scrolls and I have scrolls of wisdom. When I pick up items such as this long staff, and it's an unidentified item. So what I need to do is right-click on this scroll to identify it. Now, I'm not going to use the staff for anything, because as a melee character, there really isn't a need for me to use a staff. So, and this hatch is a common item, so I'm just going to throw it out. So I'm not going to identify it, I'm just going to sell it when I get back to town. I don't need that circlet. Now let's take a look at these orbs here. So, Orb of Chaos, for example, I can use it to reforge a rare item with a new random property. So, for example, I could take one of these items here, and if I wanted to, I could reforge it. If I thought, you know, I need an item, I need something for this slot, but I wanted to do something else, I could actually reforge it and see what kind of new random abilities we roll on. At the moment, there's no need for me to reforge it, so we'll leave these be. Item rarity, I believe it goes common. As far as I know, the only ones I found is common, which were the gray items here. Then blue, and then yellow. So these yellow items have a lot of abilities here. And we'll take a look at those. But the scrolls. So Scroll of Wisdom lets me identify things. Orbs lets me do different things. There's Orb of Transmutation, Orb of Alteration. All kinds of orbs that you can get, which allow you to do different things with items. You can also use these to purchase things from the shops. And Scroll of Wisdom you can use for purchasing things. Different orbs will let you purchase things. So it's an interesting mechanic to forego gold and silver and copper and all that stuff altogether, and just use these scrolls and orbs for transactions. I don't know if it simplifies the world economy. I don't know what their design choice was, but it is different. So I think different is good, at least worth trying and seeing how it works out. Excuse me. I've been fighting off a bit of a cold. It's winter, and at least in this part of the world, and it's starting to get pretty cold outside, and everyone's starting to get sick. Of course, you don't get sick from the cold. That's a common misconception. Biology major here. You get sick from being inside around other people too long, basically, is what happens. So there's that. Something to keep in mind in case you're looking forward to enjoying other people's company this upcoming season. Just remember, they'll kill you. So what else am I going to talk about in this game? Oh, I'm leveling up my experience down here, and I'm almost at level 18. Over here on the left-hand side, I have potions. So I have 5 potions that I can place, or 5 slots for potions. And the potions I have are life flasks here, which I can use to regain health. And some of this, normally they regain gradually over a certain amount of time. Although, over 4.3 seconds in this case. But this one has increased recovery speed, so it's a little faster than normal. And I get elemental resistance when I take a swig from the flask. This flask, I get 75 life over 6.5 seconds. So this one's 100 life, this one's 75. But I do more instant recovery when I'm low on life, so it's useful. And I just have to remember to press this when I'm low on life. I probably will not. Actually, I'll be pressing all the keys when I'm low on life and just spamming them. And I have an increased evasion rating when I take a swig from this one. And this is a larger flask. and it's 160 life recovery over 4.7 seconds, so also really good. Then I have this Quicksilver Flask, which gives me elemental resistance, but also gives me increased movement speed, so if I need to run away. And I have a mana recovery flask here as well, which dispels shocked effect, but also recovers my mana so I can use my abilities. My abilities are on the right hand side, and I have dual default attack, and I have two weapons here, main hand and offhand, that I'm using, and that's just the build I went with. I have Molten Shell, which is this ability here, which gives me a shield, 148 additional armor, and lasts for 10 seconds, and after 95 damage, the shield explodes and deals 45 to 68 fire damage to all of the surrounding enemies. And being a warrior, I don't have too many AoE options, so that is my AoE at the moment. I also have this dual strike, which lets me, hit with both my weapons, if I can, there we go, pull it off, which does a lot of damage instantaneously, and I save that up for bosses or tougher fights. Then I have this decoy totem that I can throw down, and it causes enemies to go and attack this totem instead of me, which is nice, so it buys me a little bit of a distraction. It seems to have worked on bosses so far, so this has been really nice for boss fights. I have Fireball, which I picked up, so you're wondering, well, how is a warrior or a melee class being able to throw fireballs? Well, that's an interesting question, because this game has an interesting mechanic for skills. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I also have Heavy Strike, which is another ability that I have, but because I'm dual wielding, Heavy Strike is not as useful, so I have it bound in my E key. Each weapon can do more damage, but I prefer the dual strike over the Heavy Strike when I'm dual wielding. So let's talk about why do I have Fireball. Well, all of these abilities are actually tied to gems, and it's these gems here that I have socketed in my weapons, and I have a gem here in my gloves, for example. So my Fireball is tied to this glove, and the there you go, and the dual strike is tied to this glove here. So these gems are socketed into equipment, and then you get an ability tied with the gem. So theoretically, you could be any class. I mean, some of the abilities I saw were arrows for shooting bows, fireballs, and other casting abilities. So it really doesn't matter what class you play. If you play a melee class, you could still do magical things or have some sort of magical attacks. If you play a magical class, you could probably get dual strike and use those abilities. It's just a matter of how do you want to play the game and how do you want to customize your class to better suit you. If we take a look at the class tree for this game, now this is really insane. Let's open the passive skills. This is the class tree. Now this is just incredible. Look at all these skills that are available. So when you pick a class at the beginning of the game, you start at one of these spots. Pick my melee class, which is I think mercenary or something. I forget what it's called, marauder. That's what it is, I believe. And it starts over here. So it has certain paths you can take, but then you can branch out and go wherever. And then the other classes would start here, 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 and here. So based on your class, for example, this is attack speed, projectile damage. So I'm assuming this would be the ranger or the hunter class because you have more bow-oriented skills here. This is attack speed, melee damage, so one of the other melee classes. While here, this is spell damage, so this is one of the caster classes. But if I wanted to, I could branch off this way and sort of make my way down here to the melee. It will just take me longer to get here than if I start with a melee class altogether, or from the get-go. Also, my starting statistics are a little bit different based on class, so I start with higher strength as a melee class, but I start with lower intelligence and lower dexterity. However, had I picked a melee class, or I'm sorry, a caster class, I probably would have started with higher intelligence and lower strength and so on. So depending on which class you pick affects your starting characteristics, but it does not limit you to those skills or to that particular skill set. It just kind of pushes you in that direction, but you can then customize it however you want. I have some refund points right now actually, which I can use to undo some of my choices in skills, but I'm not gonna. I like these so far. So I've taken, let's take a look at what I've taken. I've taken melee damage increase, another melee damage increase, another melee damage, and then I've gone for one-handed damage and accuracy. The reason for that, and some versatility here for more dexterity and intelligence, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to be a melee class that just dual wields. So I want to be able to take a lot of damage, but also dish out damage, and we'll see, I might switch it up later on as needed be. Then down here, I've also taken increases in life and armor. So life, armor, and then armor mastery, which gives me a lot more armor and a little bit of movement speed. And here I get some life regen and critical strike multiplier, which reduces the amount of damage I take. So I could go down this path, or had I wanted to, I could go down to shields. I'm not sure I'm going to go all the way to shields because I might go down this way for one-handed damage, but more in this direction and less into the shields. And I do want to keep taking more increases in life, so diamond skill, elemental resistance, and so forth. So I can go down here. Enemies can have leech mana, cranium crush, stun duration with two-handed melee weapons. No, I don't think I'll be going for that, but I might go for stuff like this. Staff damage, nope. So I might go up here, strength, intelligence, one-handed accuracy, one-handed attack speed, and so forth. And what's up here? Shield block, dexterity. So maybe eventually I will move towards shields. We'll see. But I am more of a dual-wielding fighter at the moment. And I plan to play a lot more of this. So I'll probably try other classes and other combinations of things. My next class will probably be a caster. There's a witch class, which seems to be more of the damage-dealing caster, and a cleric, which is more of a healing class. I haven't actually had any opportunity to play in a group, but I imagine that in a group, if you're a healer, you'll be very much desired, because healers often are. So, let's take a look. Lots of options, by the way, in this game. I just want to point out the options menu. One of the cool things I really like is this automatic ability to stream directly to Twitch TV, which is awesome. I think more games should put this in. You know, I don't think I'll be doing any streaming of this yet, and I don't actually have a Twitch account as of now, but I plan to join and start doing some streaming eventually. Maybe Hearthstone, maybe StarCraft. I don't think this would be as enjoyable to stream unless you're playing in a group. Now, some group games would probably be a lot of fun to stream, just the interaction and being able to talk about the game with other people as you're playing. Solo play, not as much. So maybe if I do group play and I do some group missions, I will probably stream them. But I think it's a cool feature that it's in the game. I think more games should look into putting this in, especially multiplayer games, competitive multiplayer games. StarCraft, Hearthstone, you know, Heroes of the Storm, anything from Blizzard. Look into this feature because it is a great idea. Just makes it easy. Yes, a lot of people already have a means of streaming their stuff, but this is just built in and it's so cool. I think it's great. Under the UI, I've actually turned off the global chat, but if we turn it on, we can see eventually it'll kick in and people will be talking. I just had to turn it off because people were just saying stupid things and it was getting to me. So when Blood Magic, yeah, whatever. Some people were just spamming stuff and it was just getting annoying. So at the moment I like to play with global chat off. Let's take a look. So we've discussed the inventory. I also have a second weapon slot where I have my two-handed weapon equipped, and I don't have any runes on it right now, so if I wanted to, I could switch it out for other runes, or I could leave it as is. But that's my two-handed weapon, and I'm going to switch back to my two one-handed weapons, to my dual wield. If we look at the area map, that's the tab key. Again, it's kind of hard to see. There might be a way to, let's take a look if there is a way in the UI. Map transparency, there we go. So we'll make it less, close, and is that better or worse? I can't tell. Let's try that again. Map transparency, let's do that. Okay, that's better. So it's a little easier to see, which is perfectly fine. Alright, so we'll close the map. Character panel, so this is all my character stats. Here's all my life, strength, and so on. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, my abilities, life, mana, maximum energy shield. And as I get into the game, I'm going to start looking at these stats more and more. Right now I'm just enjoying the game as is, without worrying too much about micromanaging all these stats and maxing them out to the best. My abilities, and I know that's going to sound horrible to some people, but I just like to smack things. It's just cathartic running around and hitting things without having to worry about doing these kinds of maths and these kinds of statistics. I do this at work way too much, and I don't want this to be a job. I'd rather just be able to run around and have fun. So later on, as I get into the game and as I get into the higher levels, I probably will get more into it, because in order to be able to beat some areas, I'm sure it'll become needed. So, that's a quick look at the game and a quick explanation of what the game is like. The gems level up, and that's this little area over here, this little gem icon. So as I get experience, so does the gem, and you know, they start dealing more damage, and they start costing more mana, but it balances out because they deal more damage or they have a longer lasting effect. So, as they level up, it will actually tell me that I can level the gem up. And the gems are impacted by my dexterity scores and my strength scores, so I did get to a point where I couldn't level up a certain gem because my dexterity wasn't high enough, so that's why I went towards the dexterity part on the skills tree and got additional dexterity. You can also get things like intelligence and dexterity through items, so that's a possibility. Although I don't like that necessarily, because then if you switch out an item, you no longer can use certain abilities or certain skills. So try to make sure that I'd rather get the passive skills rather than the item dependent skills, and I just leveled up a little bit. So we'll take a look once I clear this out. We'll take a quick look and see what I want to get as another ability. I can enemy critical strike multiplier reduction, so I can reduce critical strikes, or I can have increased life recovery from flask, which sounds awesome, and I think that is what I'm actually going to do. So let's get some more, and we'll apply the points. Let's get some more life recovery from these flasks. So each one will give me a little bit more life, which is good. These flasks, by the way, if I use it, so let's use number 1 completely. As I kill enemies, I'll show you that the flask recharges. So as you get kills, these flasks recharge. So you don't have to look for recharges or anything. You just have to keep on going through the map, killing these guys, and then you use the flasks for when you're in trouble or for boss fights when you really need them. So my mana regen, or my life regen, actually takes care of most of my life. I have life regen as an ability, but I also have some life regen in some of my items. So let's smack these guys, and I said I'll take a look at my items, so let's do that as soon as I clear this out. And I keep forgetting to use my abilities, which I should be doing more of. So if these guys keep hitting me, eventually this shield will pop. There we go, and just kill them. Alright, so if we take a look at these items that I have, my clubs here, one-handed mace, 20% increase in stun duration. I do 14 to 18 physical damage plus 1 to 4 elemental damage. Attacks per second is 1.3. So the higher the number, this confused me for a little while, but the higher the attacks per second, the better. So the lower number, the less attacks per second you have, and the higher number, the more attacks per second you can do. So this is 1.3 attacks per second. This is also 1.3. If I look at my two-handed weapon, it's only 1.03, so I have less attacks per second with this two-handed weapon than I do with these one-handed weapons, which is pretty standard. 28% increase in physical damage plus lightning damage, so I got all kinds of damage here. 1% physical attack damage, leeched as life, plus 2 life gain on each enemy hit, accuracy rating, and so on. Increased life radius as well. My gloves give me an accuracy rating, evasion, maximum life, fire resistance. I get maximum energy shields from this and fire resistance. Intelligence, life regen per sec, which is another life regen in addition to my 1.5 from my passive ability. Maximum energy shield, which is this bluish glow around my life bar. That's the energy shield. 10% movement speed increase, which I like, and increase in block and stun recovery. My ring gives me maximum life. And another light radius. This gives me strength, intelligence, maximum mana, energy shield, and cold resistance. This I need to switch out. I've had this for a long time. It requires level 2, so I need to find a new hat. But this is armor, life regen, rarity of items found, which is kind of cool. So increases the chance I'll find blue or gold items, and reflects 4 physical damage. This is more strength and 1 to 5 lightning damage to my weapons. This I took just because it increases the chance of finding rare items by 15%, so 15 and 8, 23% chance to find rare items, almost 1 in 4 chance. We took a look at the shoes, and then this gives me more physical damage, some elemental damage in the form of cold, life gained on kill, and more accuracy. So kind of cool there. And then these flasks also have effects. So that's pretty much the game. I really like it. If we open up, there are challenges that you can do. So the Star Work Quest I did, Mercy Killing I did. I believe if I do all of these achievements, Golden Touch, and I could probably look them up. Let's see if I do this. Finish the game on normal difficulty in a non-hardcore league. Mercy Killing. Kill Brutus, Ward of Axiom Prison. Kill Merville the Siren. So as I do these challenges, I'm in a league. And I think these are the challenges for the league. Kill rare monsters, touch the 3 shrines, kill these unique bosses, use the currency items. So I'm in one of the domination leagues. So what does that mean? I'm not quite sure. I think it comes with challenges. It's a little bit harder than normal. And supposedly, if you complete all these challenges, you can get a t-shirt, which I think is not necessarily necessary to get somebody to play in these leagues. I would have played in it without a t-shirt, and frankly, I would just buy a t-shirt to support these developers straight out because I think they did a great job with this game, and I would like to give them my support, and I will probably buy some of these visual microtransactions simply to support the game. And for no other reason. I usually don't care about visual stuff. I don't buy hats in Team Fortress, even though I've logged way over 1,000 hours. I did buy the game though, so I feel like I contributed there. But I will not buy hats simply because I don't care about hats and things like that. But I do care about supporting these guys. So I just touched a shrine, so that's one of my achievements, and it gives me this fireball ability that if I can find somebody to use this on, I'd be able to fireball the crap out of them. But it looks like there's nowhere I can go except for the forest encampment, so that is where we go. I wonder if I'll still have this ability when I get there. Apparently not. So this looks like a town area and a new waypoint for me. It is, I believe. We'll see. Let's go see if we can find somebody to talk to. Yes, it is. So we've got new people to talk to, new quests. They have the obligatory exclamation mark floating above their head. There they are. So lots of people to talk to. Let's talk to these people, and then I'll probably end the Let's Play right here. So that's another exit. And what's the exit over here? Where does this go? This goes to, let's find out, the riverways. Alright, so let's talk to these folks, see what they want.
I have seen many an exile come and go, into the forest or into the ground. You seem different somehow. Different good, different bad, it's hard to tell at this stage. The name is Eramir, and for now you have the benefit of my doubt.
Cool. Alright, let's see what else you have to say.
The culture that descended from the Asmirian mountains and founded the Eternal Empire so long ago. Not that these people have any understanding of their lineage. Their history, identity, all but destroyed in the Cataclysm. These Asmiri took in a disowned son of Oriath, fed me, healed me. To repay my debt, I've taken in the orphans of a dead empire.
By the way, this game has some pretty cool lore that I'm still, way too early on in the game to really figure all of it out. But I'm starting to piece it together. I don't want to go read about it on the wiki yet, or read up on it. I want to try to piece as much of it together and figure out, what does it mean to me? Kind of like, how do I interpret it? Then I'll probably look it up and see what other people have to say. But it's got some pretty cool lore that has different, not waypoints, but different shrines or things you can read along the way in different zones, kind of like monoliths and stuff that have a bit of a story to tell. And then if you talk to all the folks, they have different pieces of this grand story, so that you're trying to figure it out as you go. It's pretty cool. Definitely worth looking into, and adds to the game.
I've read
makes
about
it more
Chevron
interesting,
of
so.
Umbra and what she did to the warden at Axiom. You did well to end Brutus's sorry existence. But Chevron's barricade, that's sad news indeed. There is little enough freedom in Rayclast as it is. But to be stranded on that dismal coast, I pity the exiles to come. Would I know how to lower the barricade? Afraid not. I was a bit distracted the last time I took the pass. Hungry goatmen to avoid on that side, Alira's thralls on this side.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting story, interesting game. I really enjoy it. Let's do a few more
I am
of
Grooved.
these.
I hunt boar, hunt to feed my people.
Love the
hunt
accent.
to keep them safe. If you are not a friend to us, learn to run faster than boar. I have seen warriors in black.
Alright, so
in
we
the
got a
east.
quest.
They are from your Oriath. Better fed, better armed than you, exile. Oriath did not want you, so why does it follow you here? You will understand what you see more than I. Go east and find these warriors in black. If there is danger to us, I need to learn of it.
So we can join PvP. So I didn't even know this game had PvP. That's really cool. So I'll look into this a little bit later. We got this quest here. So we can have a quest to go east and find these intruders in black, which is the Riverland, I guess. And all these areas we can go to. And that's pretty much it. I am going to put a break in this video right here, folks. I'm not going to do a full Let's Play of this simply because I don't think I can make this as entertaining as it should be. I don't think I can keep on talking and just smacking things and actually make this too much fun to watch. But I will be doing these kind of cuts and coming back to the game every now and then just to talk about my characters, some of the stuff I've done in the game, some of the progression. And I hope you enjoy this, but you know what? Go out and play this game. Pick it up. It's on Steam. It's free. I'm going to put a link to the Steam page and to the developers down in the comments below. Check it out. Support these guys. They've done a great job with this game. It's really impressive. I think it's a lot of fun. I can see myself spending a lot of hours. You know, I want to beat this. I only played for a little while, but I already want to make sure to beat this with this character and then at least play one more time with another character. And hell, who knows? If they add more content, then I'll keep on coming back. So if the PvP's fun or if the group play's fun, that's more replayability right there. Anyways, thanks for joining me, folks. I hope you enjoyed this quick look at Path of Exile, and I will see you guys later.